Welcome to step 2 in my little miniature series on how I play and teach vibrato. Today, we're going to talk about the next step after learning big slides or sirens on your instrument and where to go from there to start making it a little bit more practical vibrato motions and preparing yourself for a very nice free vibrato. You need to be in control of the vibrato motion. So before I dive into all of that, I just want to remind you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Consider sharing my videos on YouTube, on other social media. I don't think you can actually share on YouTube, but I just appreciate every share so much. And if you haven't yet, go check out my website and see what I have available there. I've got several violin resources ready for you there. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, but go check that out. All right, without further ado, let's jump into some of this vibrato stuff. So you have been practicing from my previous video, which I will link. You should have been practicing very long sirens or slides. Making sure that you can fit more than one siren or slide into a long bow. So your bow moves slow, your hand moves a little faster or a lot faster. So that is what you've been practicing from the previous step, and today we're just going to start to make that smaller and a little more controlled, get a little more independence, and working it on all 4 fingers. So every single finger, maybe a different string. We really don't care what it sounds like right now. My apologies again to your family and friends that might be hearing you practice this, but that's how it goes sometimes. And you can practice with an air bow or just no bow at all and just set the bow down and move this way as if you had the bow. All of this is good practice because what you're really doing is working on the coordination of separating and having independence between the left and right hands. So your next step really is to take these nice, luscious, big slides and just start making them smaller, almost as if they're a single note. However, I would always begin my practice reminding my hand of the big motion. So I would start with a big slide. Be careful not to let this happen. Don't let the wrist bend and extend over the fingerboard. Keep that wrist relaxed. But when it hits the violin, that's kind of the top of your sirens. So I'd start big. And then get a little smaller. I'm not ready for you to get smaller than a single note up and down yet, but that's kind of how I would practice that. So that's really the next step. You're going to do that on all of the different fingers, all of the different strings, so that you're practicing at all of these different positions that you could end up in as you're working a vibrato. So the very important thing at this point, and this is one of the reasons I want you to start big and gradually get small. If you stay small, for some reason, that tends to make some tension, and your left thumb will try to grip the fingerboard, or the neck of the violin. So you don't want that at all. So don't allow if you see a white knuckle on your thumb, you're gripping there. So if this starts to happen to you, what I would do, let me see if I can show this to you from a different angle. I would actually pull the thumb off while you practice these slides. If the thumb keeps wanting to pull back, then you know that you have a tension issue to practice there. But mostly that should prevent that from becoming an issue. If you already clench the violin when you play though, then what you're gonna wanna do to work that out is to actually pull the thumb away and wiggle it. You can't have tension if you're moving. So if your thumb is wiggling, and that's going to force it not to have that tension in the thumb. So if you have a gripping issue, that would be the top priority, to practice that kind of a thing on your pieces, on your scales, anything that you're playing. Just try pulling that thumb away and wiggling while you play. So getting that, again, independence of the thumb from the rest of the hand is very essential to having the control that you really need to have to get a nice vibrato. So being able to play in a relaxed way is a big part of a nice vibrato. So, all right, I hope that helps. And I will be back soon with step 3 for how I play and teach vibrato.